At Pluralsight, we don't just teach skills, we are building the tech workforce who deliver results fast, accelerated by top-tier content. Lead with confidence, lead with expertise. Visit us at pluralsight.com to tap in and learn more.
Hey you, welcome to the Almost 20 podcast. If you are a returning listener, welcome back to the Almost 20 podcast. Today I want to talk about something that has been on my mind for a while now. It's been on my mind for a while. I thought about it and I said, you know what, it's worth talking about. And here we are having this conversation. As the topic suggests, as the title of this podcast episode suggests, it's about fat phobia. And fat phobia is not something that is new. It's not a trend. It's not something that I'm going to come here and say, oh my goodness, fat phobia is actually something that is real. It's trending now. I mean, it's not like it's real, but it's something that is trending now. It's a hype. It's a vibe now. It's only recently. I feel like fat phobia has been there for a very, very long time. Now, for anybody wondering what fat phobia is, I'm just going to give you the definition of fat phobia straight up from the source I have here. It says, fat phobia is the bias and discrimination against people with higher body weights or higher weight bodies, which can include unfair treatment, stigma, and negative stereotypes. This can manifest as fat shaming, bullying, and mistreatment in professional settings like healthcare, leading to significant physical and mental health consequences. It then goes further to talk about the consequences of fat phobia. It has consequences on the mental health. Fat phobia can lead to shame, anxiety, and depression. It also extends to say that it has consequences on the physical health. It also has consequences on the economic impact, which is having difficulty getting opportunities in the employment sector. And that's what I want to talk about. I feel like even with this entire episode I'm going to be talking about this on, it might not be enough. And I might plan to extend this to even be a series where I might get a guest who has very, very detailed experience, or somebody who is a dietitian, or somebody who is a weight loss or weight gain coach, anybody of that profession or anybody within that field. I could bring them on the pod and we talk at length in this. But this episode is just my personal opinion and my personal experience and some of the experiences of some other people revolving around fat phobia that I'm going to be talking about. Before we even dive right into this episode, anybody again might be wondering, well, what makes this young man qualified to talk about fat phobia? Okay, is this just some random podcast whereby somebody's just gonna sit down and be like, you know what, let's talk about this randomly because it's cool? Absolutely not. I've had experience with fat phobia. I've had experience with it, and like most of you might know, if you guys have listened to the first episode, I talked about it there, whereby I had finished high school and I decided that the best thing to do with my free time before gaining admission into the university was to just binge eat. Okay, was to just eat like a crazy human being. I remember a friend of mine when I was describing how I ate. The friend of mine told me, Martins, were you training to be a sumo wrestler? You guys should check this out. Literally Google sumo wrestlers. I'm talking now. SUMO wrestler. And see the picture that pops up. That's to show you how intense my eating regime. That's to show you how intense my eating regime was. My eating regime. How is that even pronounced? But that's to show you how intense it was. I would eat up to 5 plates. And even with my stomach hurting me, I would go on. I might wait for like 2 minutes for the pain to just subside, but I would go on. I would take gallons and gallons of water. I don't even know why. Okay, till this day, I don't know why I binge ate like that. I felt just like I'm just alone in the house. You know what? What other thing to do than to eat? But there's a whole background story of all of that, and it's talked about in the first episode. Well, basically, what happened when somebody does all that without working out or even expanding energy equal to what they are consuming, you gain the weight, your body stores the fats, stores all that energy as fat in your body. And I eventually did lose the weight. Okay. So I've had experiences while I had that weight on me. I had experience with fat phobia. I had experiences, all of these things that look very unreal, that look like it's just people posting things to seem like the victim. Oh, I was treated this way. Oh, I was treated that way. All of those things that seem unreal, they are actually real. And I experienced them on a very little scale, which then made me pity people who have been on a higher body weight their entire life. You understand? Once again, before I even dive right into this episode, I feel like I need to clear the air concerning some of the activities I might have done in the past. What do I mean by this? What I mean is that there were times in my life before I did gain the weight whereby I was naive, young, and oblivious to the fact that fat shaming and fat phobia was inherently bad. And so what I would do would be to fat shame anybody at any chance I got. Okay, you might be a vibe, you might be cool, but if you mess me up or if I just feel like it for the fun of it, I'll just fat shame that person. And I might do it to your face, or I might just do it around people around me. I would be giggling and kicking up and down. But basically, I participated in fat shaming, which is a very horrible thing. And even as I'm talking about it now, it feels somehow to come here and be talking about, oh, I participated in fat shaming, but I just want to be honest about it. I'm not coming here talking like a saint. I'm not coming here to talk like somebody who is like, do not fat shame. Do not participate in any of these activities, okay? Don't do this. Be good. Live your life in a very pure. No, hell no. I did all of these things, and I'm talking as somebody who has gained insights when it comes to these things and even experienced them. You could even call it karma, and then come out of it to say, this is horrible. This is actually freaking horrible. Okay. One of the things I'm even glad that I did was that I did apologize to the person that I did fat shame. There might have been multiple people who I have done that to. I couldn't keep count. But I know that there was a friend of mine who I had persistently done that to. Not just me targeting that particular person, but I know that a group of people within that environment, we usually did that. Okay, this sounds sick. This sounds horrible. I know. But we did that for the fun of it. To us, it felt casual. It felt like a very regular, normal thing. That person was the butt of the joke. That person, you understand what I'm trying to say? And so I did apologize to that person. And I'm sure no other person within that environment did apologize to that person. None of them apologized. I came back to apologize to that person. This is not me saying, oh, I'm a glorified person. I'm not trying to say that. One of the things that makes me feel at least a bit better about this horrible act was that I did call this person and I honestly apologized to them that I did this and I'm sorry about that. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I just felt like I needed to clear this air. I needed to put it out there that I am not speaking as a saint. I'm not speaking as somebody who is so righteous. I'm coming here to say this is a topic and I want us to stop this. I did participate in it. I did experience it. I did walk out of it. I did learn and acknowledge my wrongdoings. Apologize to people who I could apologize to, and then decide to make amends going forward. You understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. So when you talk about my experience with fat phobia, because I've mentioned it and I've hinted it throughout the introduction of this episode about fat phobia and my experience with it, I would say that my experience with fat phobia was very brief. It was not very, very obvious every time. It was not like I was like, oh my god, this is because I'm chubby. You didn't smile at me because I'm chubby. That happens. Okay, no shade to anybody. But my experience was little, I would say, compared to what I have heard people go through. And my experience was brief. This was because I lost the weight within a year and started working out and all of that. And so, with the experience I had gathered, it made me understand how horrible people on the receiving end feel. And if you're listening to me and you're somebody who has a higher body weight, I am sure that you absolutely resonate with what I'm talking about. Okay. I experienced this with nasty comments from people who I considered my friends, quote unquote, making nasty comments about my body weight. I think the first time it dawned on me that people could actually be very direct about their body weight was, I think, a person, somebody who I was hanging around with at a particular time at a particular place. We were walking back to an event or something like that. I can't really recall it very well. Most of the experiences I had while I was chubby, most of them I have forgotten about them. Right, I didn't really hold it into me, but all I know is that it was not a good experience. I remember that people generally did not treat you, not everybody, but I remember that a good number of people didn't treat me very well. People were just downright nasty, especially with their comments. Only a few people did not bother, did not sit. It was none of their business. They couldn't even give any. They didn't give a flying f about your body weight. But there were specific individuals who made it their destiny to remind you of your body weight, right? And so I was walking home with somebody, a person who I consider a friend of mine. We were walking somewhere, we were going somewhere, and then this person now asked me out of the blue, Martins, what would you do if someone was to just grab your phone now and just start running? And I was like, which kind of question is this one? What do you mean if somebody grabs my phone and starts running, what will I do? I'll chase the person now. You understand? I was wondering where this question was even coming from, or where it was even going to. And then this person hits me with you would chase this person. Right, let me hear what. With this, your body weight like this, as big as you have body like this, you just chase this person. I did not even, that was the first time. That was the first of many times I would now have to start experiencing this very nasty. The nasty is the right word to describe this. These very nasty comments from people, especially the ones that you just don't know how to even respond to that. I mean, this person is your friend. This person is somebody who you're chilling with. So how do you even respond to this? I don't think I responded well to that. I was just confused. I was just disoriented, especially as somebody who had always seen himself as a skinny guy. If you listened once again to the first episode, if you listen to it, I talked about how it was disorienting being a skinny guy all through his life, even being called lanky at some point, to then all of a sudden randomly being called the chubby guy. Horrible identity crisis. But I would say that that was one of many comments that started to make me realize that being a chubby person or being somebody on the high weight side was not an easy experience or was not a good experience, or it did not make people treat you better at all. I even mentioned one time in one of the episodes whereby some girls in a particular place were busy talking about how, oh, he's chubby, oh, he's fat. And to be very honest, I really wish I could come here with more experiences. I wish I could come on this episode and give you billions of examples and crises and situations and circumstances that happened to me, and I'm coming here to talk about them, and I'm coming here to dissect them. I genuinely do not remember a good number of the experiences I had. But I do remember that they were not nice. I do remember that they were awful experiences. And with these very brief experiences I've talked about, I decided that, you know what, let me dig a bit into other people's experience to just paint an idea about what people who might be on the higher body side experience. And I said, let me go online to just look at the experiences. And most of the experiences I saw were surprising. This one is from somebody, this is online, this is literally online. So yeah, this one is from somebody who says, I used to be huge. I used to be well over so and so pounds. It's a high pounds. And I'm 6'6". I'm pretty sure I disgusted and terrified people in general, specifically women. I never knew how effed up society treats large people until I actually started losing the weight. First of all, you're treated poorly for having that weight in the first place. Exactly. The thing is that most of the time I can't even classify how I was treated, okay? But I just know that it was not a nice experience. Like from the way people would even tell you that you have body or you have weight, it was not a nice, oh wow, you look healthy. You actually have, you're having your flesh is coming out, your body is coming out. They are saying this in a very derogatory way, in a way that you might not be able to explain to somebody who does not even have that experience or who has not gone through it. And so they said, first of all, you're treated poorly for having that weight in the first place. I used to think, fair enough, I gained the weight on my own merits. But what I didn't know was that weight determined how people judged your work and your ideas. The person talked about how they did not understand the level of social ostracization that came with it. People don't want to talk to you. People don't want to laugh at your jokes. They don't take your ideas seriously. They don't hire you for jobs. Hell, you'll be lucky to get eye contact. You're treated like dirt. Now, this experience might be different for every other person, but one of the things I had come to see from various research I had done and various experiences people who either have the weight or lost the weight say is that the treatment they got being a plus size person or being a chubby person, definitely not being a skinny person or a slim person, is very different compared to you being slim or skinnier or fit. Now, is this me talking about how everybody who is plus size or obese or who looks unhealthily big should be given praise and applause? No. I'm not also saying that being fit should not be, somebody who's fit should not receive applause. You understand what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that this entire experience made people realize that pretty privilege is very real, and human beings would naturally just treat you based on how they perceive you or based on how they see your physical appearance. No matter how much you want to say, look into the heart, look at my heart is pure. People will treat you, first of all, how they see your physical structure. And unfortunately for the society, fat is equal to ugly, unattractive, lazy, someone who's not taking care of their health, somebody who's not just a great person in general. The person talked about saying that I lost the weight, and that's when I started noticing the radical change. All of a sudden, people want to talk. Women who were not interested at all, they would suddenly want to be talking to him. They were not instantly repulsed. His half-assed ideas were not taken much more thoughtful, unlike before that they would not be taken any seriously at all. Jobs were more open to him and all of that. And then people also talked about their experiences. Somebody was like, I was walking into a nail salon And a younger guy driving through the parking lot just said, "Why bother?" And he was like, "What?" The person now said, "I said, why be fat and then bother with your nails?" You can imagine, and this is just people who are their experiences are more direct. I wish I came here with more experiences. Okay, this episode might literally be a short episode, but all I'm coming here to say is that people who gain weight or people who are on a plus sized scale, they are treated horribly. They are faced with social stigmatization that I feel is unfair. And I'm not speaking as somebody who never has felt it, because I have felt it. And I think this comes from societal perception. You're growing up in a society and this is the way it's treated. Oh, fat people are laughed at, or being fat is a bad thing. And so anybody who has a higher fat percentage than an average slim person should be the butt of the joke, should be seen as lazy. I also read posts about people who they would go to the doctors, and instead of the doctors to actually do proper checkups on them to understand what the problem is, run a diagnosis on them to understand really what was going on, the doctor would look at them and just tell them that they need to just do exercise, that if they do exercise, they would actually, that problem will stop. There was somebody who, now I remember, there was somebody who said that they went to the doctor, and while they were there, they were talking about a particular pain in a part of their body, and they were talking, and the doctor was telling them that there is actually no pain wrong, there's nothing wrong with them. I've had experience with this, although it's not related to being fat or related to being chubby at all, just a very nonchalant doctor. But this person in particular was talking about their experience with a doctor who was telling them that they weren't really feeling that pain, and if they ran laps around a particular place and they did exercise, that pain would go. The person then further pushed for a diagnosis to be done. It was later eventually discovered that that person actually had kidney stones. You can imagine the nonsense. It's very annoying. It's very repulsive. I'll tell you that. Another example that's coming into my mind is this particular day. Oh my god. Whenever I think about this and I feel sad, there was this girl who was in the bus when I was coming back. That was the point where I was still working on, losing weight. I was still, let's say I was in the middle of my weight loss journey. I'm still on a fitness journey now, but then I was in the middle of my weight loss journey. And there was this girl who was, she wasn't exactly chubby. She was bigger. She was a bigger person, right? She was big. It was not someone who was plumpy, right? Even people who are plumpy face discrimination in a way, but she was not even bigger. And she was in the bus, and this driver was very nasty towards her. He was so, I don't even understand where his anger was coming from. He was the way he treated this girl. He talked about her. He was looking at her in a particular way for occupying more seats, making people not enter his bus. He wanted her to get off quickly and kept on asking that girl where she was going to drop off. I don't know why, but I felt so sad for her. He treated her, and the girl was just quiet. Like, she didn't even look for his trouble. This man would ask her, "Where are you dropping a bag? Where are we? It's not here you said you're going to drop. It's not here you're going to drop." Like, you could just tell that this man had the problem with this girl's weight. This is not even me trying to assume or jump into, oh my god, this man is doing it. It was just obvious, and it was sad. It was just sad. And I looked at it, and it further confirmed in my mind that pretty privilege, slim privilege is a thing. Something that would not be going out and many people benefit from. It's just sad. People treat people with big weight sad. I wish I could read more experiences. I wish I could load here with so many experiences. But I just feel like this is something that I feel, and I want to come and talk about it here. Okay. So is there any conclusion to take from this episode? My conclusion is that we should be kind. We should be kind to people. You have absolutely no idea what people are going through. You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. Most of the comments that people said to me while I was chubby, I still remember some of them, like I just gave you. And it's not all. This is because I don't know, maybe I removed it from my mind, journaled about it, or I've forgotten about it. All I just remember is the feeling of it was not a great feeling. And I can only just look at people's experiences. I'm sure if somebody talks about a specific instance, I could probably relate to it. But for me to sit down and start remembering all those experiences I went through, I can't really remember them. But I feel like, I don't even feel like, I know that the message from this episode is just for kindness to be much more emphasized when you're relating with human beings instead of pointing out their physical features and attributes. This also extends to people who you know are obviously handicapped or disabled, and you would make sure that you point it out to them. Oh, what's wrong with your eyes? Oh, what's wrong with your, oh, wow, your teeth is this way. Oh, your eye is this way. Oh, your ears are this way. Oh, what happened to your skin? You have pimple. You have this. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like if somebody who's on a plus on who's you know what, I wouldn't even say plus with it. If somebody who there's fat, there's slim, you can use any other words. I'm not using it in a very derogatory term. But if somebody who is fat is in your presence or you're having a conversation with that person, if that person doesn't directly ask you for advice on their weight loss journey or tell you that they need your guidance or your wisdom, don't offer it to them. Even if that person is your friend, don't use them as the butt of the joke. Okay, be kinder to people, please. Okay, if there is anybody who is going through any of these things, okay, my DMs are open for us to have a chat, for us to have a conversation. Okay, this is a random, like this might be a very brief episode, okay, but I want to talk about this. Okay, this is a very random. I don't think I even planned properly for this episode. I just thought about it, brought out the mic, and I want to talk about this. Yeah, in the near future, I would definitely be bringing a guest or somebody who's had a very direct experience with this in a way that they've had this experience longer than I had. And they will talk more about it because I know that people get treated differently as a fat person. As somebody who I've been around people who they make jokes about people who are fat. It's very disappointing. It's very sad. And I would agree that I might not have gotten this clarity had I not gone through my own fair share of experience, no matter how small it was. But I would use that experience to learn lessons for myself and then also come to talk about it here, hoping that somebody would actually gain a thing or two from it. And that's all I've got for today's episode. Thank you once again. Every single conversation I have with you is wonderful. Thank you for giving me your time on this episode. Thank you so much. Check out the Almost 20 podcast on Instagram at Almost 20 podcast. Like I said, I've been collabing with a very, very wonderful podcaster. His name is Daniel. We recently connected through Facebook. I know who uses Facebook, but we did connect, and he runs the podcast called The Morning Gear. He's the host of the podcast. He talks about reforming your mindset through various mindset shifts, which is wonderful to me. And so we decided to do collab posts on Instagram, and it's been wonderful so far. So you could check that out on Instagram. Check out me on Instagram at _GuyMartins. Check out the podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, or wherever it is you listen to your podcast. Please, 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 I would always say, please rate the podcast. It helps me so much. In fact, I am literally going to use my phone right now that's in my hand to tell you how to rate the podcast in case you do not know. So if you're on Spotify, you scroll to the beginning of the episode, right? The latest episode, the section, the information section, okay? This is hard, guys. And then you go to decide that 3 dots that is beside the settings, go there, click on it, and then you would see share, remove from your library if you've added it, or add to your library. You would see rate the podcast, and then you see that rate the podcast there. Tap on it, and then give the rating that I deserve. 5 stars. 5 stars. So yeah, you read the podcast, and yeah, it helps me a lot. Thank you so much once again for listening to the episode, and I'll talk to you soon, okay? Take care.
At Lowe's, this Veterans Day and every day, verified military members, veterans, and their spouses get automatic silver status in My Lowe's Rewards with free standard shipping, plus 10% off eligible purchases with no annual limit. It's one way we honor and give back to those who have served and still do. Learn more now at lowes.com/military. 10% discount can't be combined with another offer. Exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.